Yesterday we began and was looking at some things in regards to opportunities, opportunities that lie before us. We're talking about change, doing things slightly different, why we need to do that, not just to change to be changing, but to see to change because we see something better that we could do. And the reason we see something better that we could do is we're looking at where we're trying to get and what we're trying to accomplish. As Simon Sinek says in one of his books, start with why. Why do we need to do that? Then we'll answer the how and the what. Money and labor and all of that won't matter if we really have bought into the why we need to do that, and we're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. So today we look at the idea of opportunities, and we're looking at the idea of how we must eliminate negative attitudes. I recall when I was in third grade, we were a third and fourth grade basketball team. We were going to play in the fifth and sixth grade tournament. A team hadn't shown up. I missed their first game. Our coach said, hey, we'll play these third and fourth grade boys. We'll put them in and they can play the last two games of the tournament. And as we were about to begin our first game, the five starters were up there and I was sitting there on the bench and one of the starters goes, yeah, coach, there's no way we can beat these guys. And the coach says, well, you don't think so? And he goes, no, look how big they are. And the coach says, well, you may be right. But why don't you sit down on the bench and we'll see what we can do. So that kid, coach put him on the bench and Zerby, get up. And we won both games in that tournament against those other guys. I've remembered that. It was a small thing. It was a 30-second interaction before a game when I was in third grade. But I've remembered that because the coach wasn't going to deal with the negative. You don't think we can win? Then sit down over there. And I've always remembered that because it sent a message to me at a young age about the importance of attitude, knowing you can and believing you can. And that's what we see here in our text today. We're in Mark chapter 5, talking about some healings that Jesus is doing. Got the woman that had been bleeding for 12 years that thought if she could just touch his cloak that she'd be healed. All the while we have the synagogue official come up to Jesus, and his little girl is sick, and he's on the way to take care of the little girl when the woman who had been bleeding for 12 years touches his cloak, and he stops and he addresses that and he deals with that. And just before they're about to leave, we find this interaction in verse 35. But he was still speaking. They came from the house of the synagogue official saying, your daughter has died. Why trouble the teacher anymore? They're like, hey, let's not waste the teacher's time. Let's not waste his time. It's too late. There's nothing he can do. Your daughter has died. And Jesus' reply is found in verse 36. But Jesus, overhearing what was being spoken, said to the synagogue official, do not be afraid any longer, only believe. Have faith. Have a positive attitude. Let's not give up. Let's not quit. Let's not throw in the towel. We know the rest of the story. He gets to the house and he tells the little girl, I say to you, get up. Immediately the girl got up and began to walk, for she was 12 years old, and immediately they were completely astounded. The reality is these people with the best of intentions said, your little girl has died. Let's not bother the teacher anymore. They were thinking of things that they could do. Folks, there's limitations on what you and I can do. But there's no limitation on what God can do and what God can do with us. So as we seek to move forward, as we seek to take advantage of opportunities before us, as we seek to make changes that are necessary in our lives to move forward in a more positive way, may we have the right attitude. May we not be putting all of our faith and our hope in our own ability, but may we put our faith and our hope and our trust in the Lord who can do all things with us. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I pray that the Lord will be glorified in all that you do.